Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
We are loud and proud from Nakuru region, and I am Austin Yambok.
And I am Mariam Bashar. Today on the show, we're dealing with the sensitive topic of parenting. Is poor parenting to blame for the indiscipline in schools? We have Bahati girls going versus Weru school. We can't wait to see what the debaters have in store for us. Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Parents are the leaders of the homes. This is, you find that parents are not taking the responsibilities of children. They take the children in school, and then when they come back at home, they find no one at home. As in, the children find no one at home, and then the children try to do something at home, but because the parents are not at home, they are not there to find on their way. And then take, for example, that a parent pampers her child, either a boy or a girl. The boy, when the parents like the boy to, when in future, to have a good life. But this leads to, when pampering the child, the girl or the boy doesn't find the way out. Reason being, the parents are there not on their sides, but they are there doing their works. They are not concentrating on their children, and these children emulate whatever the parents teach them at home or what they see at home, and take them the things to the schools. And then you find that they are always on punishment. This is, the teachers take this as an indisciplined case. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes for your opening remarks.
First and foremost, let us understand the motion. What is poor parenting? Poor parenting is the inability to support and promote the emotional, physical, social, and intellectual development of a child from infancy to adulthood. And what is indiscipline? Indiscipline is the lack of control of behavior of a particular people. The motion is basically telling us that the inadequate care given to the children in our schools is responsible for the indisciplines in my school and in your school. Why are we focusing on only poor parenting, and yet we have other factors? Why should you focus on the tip of the iceberg and not the other factors? Allow me to introduce you to the iceberg and not just the tip of the iceberg. There were 3 monkeys on a tree. The first monkey got sick, died, and fell off on the tree. The second monkey also got sick. It died and also fell off the tree. The third monkey fell off the tree. It did not get sick, and it did not fall off the tree because it was sick. It just decided, all the others are falling, so I am going to also fall. And it died also. This is the problem our schools are facing. Peer pressure. The third monkey was just following what the others were doing. It was tired of staying alone, so it had to follow what the others had done. So it also fell off. This is exactly the problem that is eating us. We take children to our schools. They go to schools. They meet other friends. And maybe we have a group in a school, and a student or a pupil gets there and wants to fit in the group. Yeah? I want to be in this group where I can put on good hairstyles. I get a Form 1 in the queue. I just push the Form 1 out. That is a form of indiscipline. There are these groups where they want to fit in, they can talk back at teachers. Talking back at a teacher is a form of indiscipline. Did the parent contribute to that? It is the child who made the choice. The child wanted to be in a group. In addition to this, when a parent raises a child, he or she raises the child knowing it will reach a point where the child has to make a decision. A child has to make a choice. The choice lay in our hands. It's your decision to choose. You want good or you want bad. You want this or you don't want this. The decision lay in your hands. Do I really want to get into this group? No. So, let us sit there and know focusing on poor parenting is equivalent to being penny wise and pound foolish. Thank you.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes.
John Kihara from Weru School. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand here with the strongest conviction that our parents indeed are to blame for the indisciplines cases we are having in our schools. I want us to look at it in this angle that when a child is born, he or she is born with a mind that is ready to absorb what is in his or her surrounding. And I don't know how you can determine the fruits of a tree if you don't know the seed you're planting. I mean, why can we say that the people, the kid meets at school and stuff are the ones who influence his or her behaviors, while parents are the people who the kid meets first? I mean, I don't see the reason as to why you should blame a goat for stealing your milk when you have a cat around. Now, let us look at this. Domestic violence has become a daily issue. I mean, our parents are fighting each and every day because of domestic issues like misuse of funds, alcoholism in our fathers and sorry to say our mothers. Our kids learn this from their parents. When they go to school, they start involving in drug because my father does that, because my mother does that. My mom wakes up in the morning, starts hurling abuses at my father. When the kid goes to school, even my mom does this. Now you see, the parents are a part of, or they contribute to what the parent does to what the kid does at school. We all make mistakes, yes, but our parents pamper us, as in they hide their mistakes by maybe giving us a lot of money, allowing us to use these phones, allowing us to watch films. And these films, some of them carry a lot of falsehood. They just bring some kind of alteration in the normal functioning of the kid's mind. And when the kid goes to school, what happens? He or she starts telling the other kids, I mean, I watched this in the movie, I can do this to you. This guy fought like this, I can do the same. And then it ends up being an indiscipline case. My other point is that I want to look at indiscipline in the angle of drug and alcoholism. Our kids, it is said that, statistics done by Asante Africa organization show that 45% of teenagers in our schools are involved in alcoholism and drug abuse. And out of these 45%, 70% of them got this from their parents. It's alarming. I mean, it brings a lot of questions. Are we bringing up our kids the way we should be? I mean, there's something that has gone wrong somewhere. And it all began from the roots, from our parents. Now, I think we should really be asking these questions to our parents. And I don't see the reason as to why my fellow opposers here want to bring us issues of peers and peer influence and freedom at schools, while we have the roots down there that are contaminated and affect the growing of the tree. Thank you.
Opposition will now hear your rebuttal. You also have 3 minutes.
I am indebted to my father for living, but I am indebted to my teacher for living well. A quote by Alexander the Great. And I, Brennan Nyabinge from the Bahati Girls, I'm here to tell you why this statement is very right. First, I rebutted for what my opponents have said. My opponents have said that our parents pamper us. Well, they've not told us what our parents are pampering us with. I like the way they use pamper. Well, to pamper is to provide for someone such that that person does not need to exert him or herself looking for the thing that you're providing. What if I am pampering my child with morals? When you tell me poor parenting is a factor, I agree, because we've said poor parenting is the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is also part of the iceberg. No one has said poor parenting is not a factor. So whatever you're saying, you're agreeing with us. And then, when you tell us our parents give us phones and iPods to distract us when we've done bad behavior or anything wrong, are you telling us that our parents are so unreasonable that they will give us a reward for a wrong done? When you do wrong, are you given an iPod? Let me address the big cheese in this matter. The big reasons as to why we have indiscipline in schools. And I'm addressing the teachers. We have teachers whom we see daily when we're in school, when we're learning. We spend 3 months with the teachers, 1 month with the parents when we're in boarding schools. And then when we're in day schools, we'll spend 8 hours during the day with the teacher, 2 hours in the evening with your parent before you retire to bed. Now these teachers are the ones in the best place to be our role models because we spend most of our time with them. What happens when your teacher is not the right role model for you? What happens? Like when you're told not to listen to readings per se, what happens if your teacher actually has a redeem as a ringtone of the phone? I was told not to listen to redeems, and when my teacher is punishing me, his phone rings, a redeem. I'll be wondering what's happening? And then, when teachers practice favoritism, the students whom they favor will think that that is an opportunity for them, that they can do anything without consequences. And to the students who are not favored, they will see it as an opportunity to rebel because the teacher is favoring one side. They'll see it as unfairness. And this is according to a study done by Mohammed Gadmi, and it was published on the 25th of August 2013. And then we have influence from the school administration. Wow. When the government tells you, do not extend in school, and your own administration is telling you, come with home clothes, and then when you get to school, you'll change so that you will not be noticed. Aren't they teaching you how to rebel against the government? Now, if they've taught you how to rebel against the government, when you rebel against the school administration, are they going to complain? There are other factors which bring about indiscipline. Poor parenting is a very small fraction, and blaming it is quite wrong, I believe.
Nimechoka kuibiwa pesa zangu, nimechoka kupoteza muda wangu.
Pesa utalipia bei ya stima, waweza tuma pesa hata ukiwa wima. Masau ni haraka tena na mapema. Una line safi, basi fungua M-Pesa.
Salute to M-Pesa.
Thank you to Safaricom, the better option.
Take part in the M Challenge by sending your short song, rap or poem about Safaricom M-Pesa on WhatsApp, and you could win 1,000 shillings in Safaricom airtime.
The audience has posed questions to the two teams on stage. They will be responding shortly. The proposition have been asked, why are we blaming indiscipline on parents, yet they're often away trying to provide for their children? And the opposition have been asked, are teachers really good role models, yet they're also parents, and they may also be causing indiscipline in their children? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
I'm Martin Moredi from Weru School. A member here said that parents are pampering kids with smartphones, money, etc. Well, they do pamper them with those issues. We find that they give them smartphones, they give them phones, they give them tablets, they give them laptops, they even give them films to watch. But do they supervise them on the films that they are watching? Do they go through their phones to see what they are watching, what they have downloaded, what they want to watch? We have to blame our parents because the parents are not supervising what we are watching. The parents just give us the gadgets and they don't look at what we are going to watch on the gadgets, what we are downloading on the gadget. So we have to blame our parents because they are the cause of indiscipline. Okay, we say that the parents are to blame, they are to blame because of indiscipline. We find that parents are responsible of us. Parents have their duty to advise us on issues. Parents have their duty to guide their children. But when they neglect those duties, you find that their children, of course, will be indisciplined. They'll see that there's no one to advise them on such issues. They find that what they are doing is already correct. So they have no other choice but to go on with what they are doing. Thus, cases of indiscipline crop up in school. Okay, I would like to also say that poor parenting involves disciplining their children. You find that modern parents, they say that once you go out there, you have come out of their handling, you find that the parent neglects the children. So the child sees that everything he does is correct. So you see that the parent has neglected his or her own duty. So the children, the students, they have to go in discipline cases. We find that parents who do not care about their children are also causes of indiscipline. We find that a parent may be too occupied in his or her own occupation, their jobs. They are occupied in more than getting money than helping their children get good moral values. You see that the children now will see that the parent does not care about anything else. They just care about themselves. So anything that the child does, it will be correct according to his or her own understanding. So you find that the child will end up in discipline. Okay, let's go on to the teachers. Our fellow opposer here has said that teachers will contribute to the indiscipline cases. But even teachers are also parents. So they'll see that, you see that the teachers do not take part in guiding the students. Thus, there will be cases of indiscipline. Thank you.
Opposition, you have 3 minutes to respond to the audience.
Poor parenting, being blamed for indiscipline in schools. My worthy opponent just told us he does not see the reason as to why we are not blaming the parents solely. Well, I'm here to show you the reason. Beatrice Kimunya from the Bahati girls vehemently opposing this mission with credible evidence. And first and foremost, I want to revert to your question. One person asked about the teachers and they also parents. Remember, in this motion, we are not saying that parents are not to blame. We are saying they are to blame, but we also have other factors. So when the teacher is also a parent at home, it means that he's going to influence the child negatively. And when he also comes to school, he's also going to influence the student negatively. On to my first point, the Constitution. We all know about the children's rights in the Constitution. In the Children's Act, first of all, it states that a child shall not be subjected to corporal punishment. By the same token, the child shall not be detained except as a measure of last resort. Think about that, as a measure of last resort. You might think about juvenile, but I'm saying that option is far down their list. And what are students doing? What are parents doing? They're taking advantage of these rights of children. You find a student in class, the teacher wants to discipline that student, but the student with so much effrontery, so much audacity, stands and tells the teacher, if you punish me or if you dare touch me, I'll sue you. On to my second point, the regimentation of our school system. Can you think about this? The rules that are being enforced in our schools. Disparate times call for desperate measures, and we must not remain complacent to the fact that some of the rules that are there in school force students to go against their morals. For example, like my counterpart said, the tuition section. You find that after 3 months of being in school, you're still being kept in school for an extra 2 weeks. So that maybe that factor might trigger the students to revolt. Remember, enforced legislation might actually lead to revolts. To my third point, the counseling sector in our school. It is true, they have been neglected. For instance, they do not have facilities such as the offices to conduct those guidance and counseling sessions. The facilities such as computers, that is what is lacking in our schools. And I'm here to say that putting the blame on the parents solely simply transfers the responsibility from the person who makes that choice. Let us say this, parents to teach their children discipline, teachers to train them to be disciplined, and the individual to learn how to be disciplined. Thank you.
We'll now hear closing remarks. Proposers, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Martin Morethi again. So I would like to close the motion by saying that parents are not only those who bore us, but also those who take part in our upbringing. So whether those who bore us, those who take part in our upbringing, that is the teachers, the society out there, we all have to blame in the indiscipline cases because they have to turn a blind eye where a person sees indiscipline. So we support the motion saying that parents are to blame for the indiscipline cases in schools. Thank you.
Opposition, 1 minute for your closing statement as well.
A parent gives life, but as a parent, gives no more. In the same token, a murderer takes life, but his deed stops there. A teacher's influence has no end. Its ends are in eternity. His influence does not stop. This is said by Henry Adams, showing us truly that parents make up a small percentage and the teachers make even a bigger. And that's just one factor. It's true that the final forming of a person's character lies in that person's hands. The parent's duty is only to guide, but not to make the choice for the individual. God thinks about you, not for you. In the same way, the parent cannot think for you, the parent will think about you. So when you make a bad choice, it's your own choice. The parent taught you, you now have to make the right choice. And blaming poor parenting for the decisions students make in school is not only unfair, it is wrong. Thank you.
Eunice, you know, when you start off as the first speaker, you set the pace for the rest. So we didn't hear the definition of terms in the motion when you started off. John, I think you picked up the team when you came across as the cross-examiner. And I love the fact, I thought you had forgotten to cross-examine, but you did that at last, you know, when you're towards the end of your submissions. Great points and very confident. Martin, good points as well. I think you have a good commanding voice, you know, when you stand to the stage and you speak. We get to, you get our attention. All I think you need to work on is really organizing yourself so that now you can work on your presentation. So it's a seamless flow of what you want to bring across. Because you had very great points. In fact, you're the person who brought the issue about the internet and the phones and what parents should be really checking on what the kids are doing. And that was well done.
Bahati girls, Diana, strong voice and a strong start. You did very well on the definition of terms. You're very passionate with a lot of conviction and a very coherent argument. More ideas should have come out. I didn't feel like you exhausted all the ideas. Brenda, once again, a very good voice. Your point on pamper and when a parent pampers a child, that was awesome. Beatrice, also strong voice. I think all three girls, you really have strong voices. Make good use of that. Very good mastery of language, and I liked the point on the Constitution. I really wondered when you'd get to it. Well done.
Weru School, I think you could have broadened your perspective and looked at the motion in its entirety, even the question of violence, bullying in schools. You know, these are not just isolated cases. They are rampant in our country. And you could have identified them and say, these cases of indiscipline are as a result of poor parenting. To the girls, Bahati girls, again, interesting teams. One thing that I can mention about you is teamwork. I think the passion that I see in Diana is the same passion that I see in Brenda, in fact, even more, and the passion that I see in Beatrice. Teamwork is very important if you want to win a debate. To the two teams, it was a fair debate. You know, if you're given a motion, try to get local examples. Local examples speak well to us. We watch news every time, we read news all the time, and we know examples of things that affect us. Above all, we are students. I mean, what exactly do you consider indiscipline in your schools? Bring it home and make it more engaging. It was a commendable task, but I believe there is always room for improvement.
Weru School, the judges gave you 60.2%. Let's give them a hand. And Bahati girls, you are our winners for today with 71.2%.
We'd like to congratulate both teams for a very outstanding effort, and we'd like to send our gratitude to Safaricom M-Pesa and KBC Channel 1, urging our members of the audience and our viewers back home to follow us on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. This is Austin Nyumbok.
And I am Mariam Bashar. We'll see you next time.
The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.